Today I'm going to talk about winterizing your camp trailer or RV. And the things you need to know are that basically you need to drain any tank that has water in it, and anything that is not easy to drain, or anything that you don't want to drain, say like a P-trap of a drain, needs to make sure it has some antifreeze in it. And so I'm going to walk you through this process on my trailer, and it should give you a pretty good idea of all the things you need to do on yours. So right here, this is where my freshwater tank is. Usually these valves are facing downward versus your gray water, black water. Make sure that you know for sure what tank you're opening up, because you do not want to open your black water or your gray water. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. I've got an extension spout here that I am going to use to run it out into my yard. That way I don't flood out my gravel here. Okay, I've got my lovely assistant here, and she is going to help me hold this up. And so I've got it pivoted on this so she doesn't have to carry it completely. And then we're going to drain that out into the yard. So here I go. Okay, hold it up. There we go. If you have a big toy hauler like me, this can sometimes take a little while, as I've got a 100-gallon fresh tank and probably had 50 gallons in there. The next thing you'll want to do is locate your water heater cover. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and just take this off. And then you'll have a drain plug and rod. Okay, now to remove this, mine is a 1 1/16 socket size, which also translates to a 27 metric. Works almost perfectly. So I'm going to unscrew this and let these lines drain out with this. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this anode rod out. As you can see, there's plenty of goobery crap on there, and I think that's a good sign. So I'm going to let this drain out all of its boogers and get totally emptied, and then I'm going to clean this up and set it aside for the winter. Now I'm going to set this anode rod, after I've cleaned it up, aside and put it somewhere safe. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to actually take and we are going to start pumping antifreeze, this RV marine antifreeze, through the system. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and put the hot water heater in bypass mode. That way we don't pump any antifreeze into it. So just where my water heater would be located on the outside, go to the inside portion of your trailer. Sometimes they have an access door, sometimes you have to loosen some screws. It just depends on the model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to spin that up, and then there's one over here on the other side, right back there, and I'm going to spin it down. And now what will happen as I run water through the system is water will go from here and it will go up to this hose and out, bypassing the hot water heater. So now I've located where my pump is, and what I'm going to do is and every unit's a little different, but mine, I have this little fitting right here that I'm going to unscrew. Okay, and once I break that loose, now I've got just a hose, and it's got an end on it that will hook up to the pump. And then what I can do is I can hook that part to the pump, and then I can put the other end directly into the antifreeze solution. So here's the idea, is that coming directly from that line, you will be sucking up antifreeze now when I turn my water pump on. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, it was already fairly pressurized. So what I'll want to do is I'll want to put something in every single sink, because I want to get a little bit of antifreeze in every P-trap. So I'm going to run it both hot and cold until I see that pink coming out. But I'm also going to watch my jug, and if my jug gets too low, then I got to switch bottles. Okay, I've turned the pump back on. I've got a new jug with the hose in it. Now I'm going to test my hot. Okay, it's pink. So that's good. Getting some regular water out here. Get it till it turns nice and pink. Now I'm going to run just cold. It's nice and pink. Nice and pink. Okay. Now I'm going to come over to this faucet, and you got to think, you've got to do this on every faucet. So I've got one of those outside showers, so I got to do it on that as well. So here's the hot, here's pink, here's the cold, and pink. Okay. I've got this little auxiliary sprayer. I've got to do it for that. This pink stuff doesn't stain. It's built to be able to wipe off and wash off easily, so I'll give it that. But I still like to just keep it near the drain if I can help it. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this with one hand, going hot. Okay. Going cold. Okay. I'm going to leave that and let it drain. Okay, now I've also got to bring some water into my toilet. And then last but not least, I'm going to head out to the shower. And let's check our jug. Looks like that one's out too. Okay, we're full again. Now it is time to do this little outside shower I have. Pretty pink. And then we're going to go cold. Until it goes pink. Last but not least, I'm going to come in here and close this valve because I don't want a bunch of air to get in there, or bugs or any of that kind of stuff, so I'm going to keep that closed. And then I'm going to also close up the panel on my water heater cover, and that should do it.